What's up everyone, it's Q from RetroQ Gaming and I'm so happy that I get to make this video for the simple reason is the Advertising Standards Agency, the ASA, has officially launched its investigation into No Man's Sky. Now we all know a few weeks ago that this was kind of public knowledge that they were going to be launching their investigation, but it's actually officially started, which is fucking fantastic news. For the simple reason is that we all know No Man's Sky launched and it was completely different. It was arguably completely different from what they showed off and what they promoted over the last 2 years. And the best thing about this is that absolute gerbil-faced looking, Charles Manson looking fucking Sean Murray motherfucker that I just love to punch in the face every time I see him. He'll finally be on the path to be being held accountable, if you will. Now, I realize Sony and Steam, as well as maybe good old games, I'm not sure, I don't keep up with their Galaxy client, but they're not completely without fault in this too. So the ASA's investigation is basically, it is what it sounds like. They're called the Advertising Standards Agency. So essentially they go after the advertising. And they've said they've received many complaints about the advertising for No Man's Sky, including, say, many things that aren't in the game. Different AI, more complex and advanced AI, references to no loading screens, references to systems that aren't in the game, as well as just graphical quality of the game too. So that's obviously a big thing, because we all know nowadays as well that basically every game misrepresents the graphics, which is absolute bullshit that they can pretty much get away with it. So the investigation that the ASA is launching, it's mainly focused on the Steam store page, but their ruling at the end of the day actually affects all marketing for the game. So right now, if you go onto the Steam store for No Man's Sky, you'll see several different images and videos that all misrepresent No Man's Sky, be it in some way, shape or form, with features that aren't in the game, features that are extremely more basic in the actual launch and patched version of the game, stuff that's just completely missing, and of course the graphical quality of the game. So that's all on Steam. That's also, I just went on and checked the PlayStation Store as well right before I started making this video to see if it was on there too, and it is on there too. So it will, even though the Steam Store is the main focus of this investigation, if it's deemed that it's misadvertising, it's forced upon the PlayStation Store, it's forced upon YouTube videos, it's forced upon any type of marketing like Google image searches, stuff that's put in articles about the game. All that has to be removed, which is very good, because like I said at the start, this is something small. It's one small step on the way to not just taking, or making, I should say, Hello Games and Sony and Steam and all more accountable for this bullshit, but everyone in general, the industry in general. We all know there's so many games out there that have done this. We all know that The Witcher actually addressed their issue before release with the whole downgrade thing. Not to make them perfectly, not to make CD Projekt Red seem like the best in the world, because when the game launched, they did use, even though they had already talked about the downgrade, they did actually use some of the original graphics in the marketing once the game actually launched. That was changed shortly after, but it still doesn't excuse them for being it doesn't make them perfect. So yeah, I'm not just trying to harp on about them. Another one, Ubisoft, is a perfect example. If you go onto Steam right now, you can actually see some of the images and all on there are actually the from the launch trailer. No, sorry, not the launch trailer, the announcement trailer a few years ago. So it's the graphics are very different. Now, one thing I also want to add on top of this as well is that Sony and Steam and well, not so much Steam, but Sony and Hello Games are basically pointing the finger at each other, because no one wants to take the blame. We all know Sean Murray has basically dropped off the face of the earth after people figured out he was a fraud, with the whole multiplayer thing, as well as billions of other things regarding the game as well. And with the whole refund issue over mis-selling, and especially Sony when it comes to this, Sony have one of the worst refund policies I've ever seen or heard of, and it's especially bad. And because of that, it really, really pisses a lot of people off, which I completely understand, to be honest. So, because of all of that, Sony have blamed Hello Games, despite Sony obviously using some of the same marketing. This marketing, some of these issues and the screenshots and videos with content that's either a lot more basic or missing from the game entirely is on the PlayStation Store. Sony obviously have to approve this. So, they don't get a free pass on it. So Sony do have a bit of blame. Valve have a bit of blame for Steam. I do mainly pass the blame to Hello Games, though, because they were the ones that they could have said no. They could have said no. And when you have the head of your shitty little studio going on to all types of big American TV shows and big American talk shows, as well as all over the internet and magazines and publishing in general, and talking all this shit that he knows isn't going to happen, yeah, something needs to be done. So personally, I hope they do step in and find all this to be, I can never pronounce the word properly, it's like erroneous or whatever it is, all this marketing to be in error, if you will, because something needs to be done. And even if Hello Games is the duly deserving, I should say, first casualty in this war, it's a good thing overall, because it's going to make another publisher, another developer, another indie dev, another digital distribution place, or whatever, it's going to make them think twice in the future and think, hey, hang on, what if I talk about this feature and it doesn't make it in? What if I show off this feature and it's not in the game? What if I tell people it's in it, but it's not actually in it? What if I use all these screenshots that don't look like the game at all when it's completely turned up to max? Now, I know that's a whole other issue with the whole bullshotting thing, but yeah, that's a whole other issue that may or may not slightly get a bit tackled because of the steps made in this potential lawsuit or potential investigation, or the actual investigation, because it is officially going on. So let me know in the comment section below anyway what you think of anything about this investigation and anything in the Hello Games travesty. Or not just Hello Games travesty, but the No Man's Sky travesty, if you will. I've talked a little bit about it before, and I've made it very vocal that I fucking hate this studio, and I fucking hate the Sean Murray in particular. And like I said as well, I don't want to completely put the blame on them. Sony and Valve are partially guilty of this too, as is anyone who opted in to display all this marketing. But you get the idea. The majority of the blame rests with particularly Sean Murray rather than Hello Games. But I'm not giving them off the hook either, because he owns them essentially. So yeah, you get the idea. And one extra little thing I'd just like to throw in on top of this as well, as is completely evident when you take into account the entire issues with No Man's Sky. Currently, if you go on to the Steam page for No Man's Sky, now I know there's two different types of reviews that are done lately. There's the recent 30-day reviews and there's the overall reviews. But when you look at the overall reviews for No Man's Sky on Steam, you're looking at 34% of 69,396 user reviews are positive, which is pretty damn bad. So it receives a mostly negative rating. Now, here's the part that I really, really like, because it's the only time I've ever seen this on Steam. I realize it's happened on other games, but it's the only time I've ever personally seen it. When you look at the recent reviews of No Man's Sky, which is every review posted within the last 30 days of buying the game, 12% of 10,723 reviews are positive, which gives it an overwhelmingly negative rating on Steam in the last 30-day reviews. And I'm just going to quickly click into the community hub. There are currently 877 people playing No Man's Sky on Steam. So actions speak louder than words, and I realized there was words in there because of the reviews, but the fact that people were actually using the actions to leave those negative reviews. Sure, the Steam review policy isn't the best, but you get the idea. The game is being shown for what it is by the community, because no one else will show it for what it is. Now, let me know all that anyway in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter, details in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the rest of the videos in my channel.